Hello and welcome to a special holiday episode of What Next Gen X Gaming. Really, it's just a hat this week. But we're going to be looking at a bunch of different games that we've already done. We're going to do a quarterly review. There were some difficulties last week. We ran into Girl Scout cookie issues where the computer got tied up. So Wednesday night we didn't stream. Thursday night we did Slime Rancher. Well, technically, Trixie Doggy 18 did Slime Rancher. She really got a kick out of that. Thought she was getting away with one on me there. Slime Rancher is a pretty good game. All three of us have played it, both myself and both my kids. I definitely call it probably a 4. There's a certain amount of depth to it that I really haven't gotten into because I play it very casually. I was watching a speedrunner of it the other day, and that was actually pretty fascinating. Usually, I kind of just lollygag around through games like that while I'm trying to learn everything. Kids really enjoyed it though, so I definitely recommend that one. It's a 4 for me, one that's probably always going to be on my hard drive. Wednesday, we were planning on doing Fractured Minds, but as mentioned, we had the cookie issue. So we're going to be doing Fractured Mind this Wednesday. That's going to be the 23rd here on YouTube. Thursday night, we're not actually going to do a Twitch stream. We're going to pick it back up after the holiday. All right, so in a quick quarterly review, I had to write them all down because there were some pretty forgettable ones, but also some pretty good games. The first one was Autonauts. I really enjoyed that one. I kind of had bumped that one up a little bit in the queue because it looked like one I'd enjoy. I actually put quite a few hours into it after the game. Definitely one of those ones where if you're kind of colony building, programming, and stuff like that, it gets pretty deep. I put a lot of hours into it and feel like maybe I got a third of the way into all the detail. The next game was the Talos Principle. That one was pretty good. It was a very pretty game, kind of a puzzle solver. Not really my style. But I could see where if you're liking those running around in puzzles and stuff like that, you could really get into that one. That could be a fun one. I think I gave it a 2.5, maybe a 3. The next week we did Windward, one that I put some time into before, a ship sailing one. It didn't impress me as much this time around. I don't know if it was because it had saved my memory from before, and it just didn't, there wasn't any multiplayer, which might have been kind of fun. Otherwise, it's kind of boring. A pretty game, but not very exciting. We then did Urban Trail Playground. That one was really disappointing. I don't know, maybe I just didn't read the instructions well enough, but there were certain things that were very limited on that. It's kind of left to right motorcycle racing game, and I don't know, wasn't my thing. If you like motorcycles, maybe that was a good one for you. We also did Squids from Space, that first one. Looked like a pretty good fun one if you had a squad of friends to play with. Kind of small working area and stuff like that, but a lot of variety in there. Could be a fun one. That's one that I'm going to kind of keep in the back of my mind. If it goes on sale, maybe get some friends to play it or something like that later on. Next was Piku Niku. That was a side scroller with. It was definitely a curious game. Kids seemed to enjoy it a little bit. I wasn't terribly into it. It was kind of a puzzler, typical side scrolling kind of a puzzler type of thing. Figure out how to make your little guy move the particular way. That was followed up with Anarcute. That's one that I could definitely see coming back to at some point. Kind of a crowd riot type of thing where you have a kind of a puzzle that you're working through with this crowd of anarchists trying to overthrow a government or something like that. But they're pretty cute anarchists. So again, that's one that a little more detail might be kind of fun. Next week was Banished. Banished is one that I have a lot of time into, kind of a colony builder. While fun, it does kind of hit its peak at a certain point. You hit a survival level, and then it's just a matter of how much more you want to build after that. And the game is kind of limited as far as how technologically advanced you can get. It's always going to be that you're building huts or bigger houses or something like that. Followed that up with Yoku's Island Express, another side-scrolling puzzler. That was a fun one. Kids got into that one a little bit. Definitely graphically more exciting than something like Piku Niku. Had a little bit of a pinball element to it, which was kind of fun. Not my bag, but still kind of a fun, cute little game. The next one was Post Collapse. That's a post-collapse game without zombies, basically just surviving. That was really kind of disappointing. I had played it a little bit before and suspected that was going to be the case. A game like that, if you're going to do no zombies, no action, you really have to have a lot of depth into your construction building type of thing, and that one just doesn't seem to have it. Followed that up with Subnautica, one of my all-time favorites. Just a pretty game to play. Also kind of neat in VR if you ever get a chance. That's a good way to look at it. We went into a little bit of that one. I think I had a little bit of technical difficulties as far as the choppiness of the Twitch stream or something like that, but highly recommend it if you get a chance to check out Subnautica. Followed that up with Starbound. Starbound is kind of like Terraria, a side-scrolling building colony adventure type of thing. That's one I have a few hours into as well, and I kind of enjoy it. I didn't even scratch the surface of it with the stream, barely just getting in, dying, and trying to get back to my stuff. But you can build colonies, spaceships, go to different planets. Highly recommended on that one. The next one on that one was Poi. Poi was I guess a 3D brother and sister adventure, kind of I don't know, I guess I don't want to say it's quite like Crash Bandicoot in the sense that it's on rails, but you're kind of working through little puzzle areas or something like that. Again, more of a kid's game, kind of fun. The next one was The Messenger. The Messenger was a side-scrolling ninja game. Not really my bag. Had a little bit of character customization as you went, but for the most part, it didn't really excite me too much. There's games like Rogue Legacy that I get a little more excited about as far as something like that goes. Then we went to Overcooked. Overcooked looks like a really fun game to play if you're playing with some friends or a party or something like that. With one player, it just was a little too complicated for trying to manage both the different things, particularly with the keyboard setup. And I didn't really see how you'd go multiplayer. I think I have either the Steam version or something like that, and I didn't see how that would work necessarily. The next one was Endless Sky. That was one that I played a little bit before, a top-down spaceship maneuvering one. Actually, playing it this time got me a little more into it. I kind of put it in a little note to check it out a little bit further later on. I'd gotten past some of the things that initially held me up on it, and I got to where there's some things that looked pretty interesting. I'm going to try to come back around to that one at some point. Next one was Max and the Curse of Brotherhood. Trixie Doggy 18 was watching with me as we did that one. She helped out a little bit. Kind of fun. Another side scroller along the lines of Yoku's Island Express or Piku Niku. This, I think, was probably one of the better looking games. It also had an interesting mechanic with this magical crayon marker that you could use to affect the environment. Kids really enjoyed that one a lot more than I did, but still a good game. Followed that up with Orion Prelude. Orion Prelude's one that I tried before, kind of a dinosaur shooter. It was actually worse than I remember, although it had originally been called the worst game on the internet and they'd fixed it. I don't know, it was a little too overwhelming. The dinosaurs, you're shooting at them, it takes a whole clip to take one of them down, and there's 5 of them coming at you, and then I died at the same spot in each one without being able to get past a certain thing. I just didn't care for it. Next was Outcast, The Second Coming. Or Second Contact, excuse me. That one was actually pretty good. I could see where that one could be enjoyable. It's fairly open world, has a fairly decent plot. The drawback to it was, man, the characters just wanted to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I think it could have been done better with less talking, more kind of a showing type of thing. At least in my case, I didn't really want to stop and sit there and listen to the NPCs all day long. Followed that one back up with Sheltered. Sheltered's another one I have a lot of time into. In fact, I still have the game going since we played. Before I forget, Sheltered is free right now on Twitch, I think through the first part of January 2021. So if you got into that one or it looked interesting, go pick it up for free over there on Twitch. Definitely enjoyed that one. I'm curious to see. I've gotten in my new game that I've started pretty far into it, got the camper going. I'm kind of getting to the place where it's automated again, so we'll see if it keeps up the interest. Next one there was Regions of Ruin, which was very similar to Sheltered, except for when you went out on an adventure, you were side-scrolling and you actually controlled your guy a little bit more. Otherwise, it's the same kind of maneuver through a map, build a little base that you got back there. I could see that one being a little more interesting if you got into it and kind of got into the buildings a little bit more. And that's where we left off. We were planning on doing Fractured Minds last week. We did end up doing Slime Rancher, which I talked about at the beginning of this one here. Next week, so this week, Christmas week, we're going to do Fractured Minds. We're going to do that Wednesday night. The following week, and I'll preview these again after Christmas there, we're going to do Fortress Craft Evolved, and I think Turmoil is there. If not Turmoil, then we'll skip to a different one that we have on there, but Turmoil is still on the list there. All right, so everybody enjoy your holidays, be safe. We'll look for you after Christmas. Enjoy your time with your families. Thanks for joining me.